Hey, Donald Miller, Donald Miller's Electrical Services. So it is in June. I believe it is Juneteenth. Um, and I haven't really made a video in a little bit just because sometimes, I'm dealing with my own learning curve. So I'm still pushing myself, even 25 years into the trade. I don't rely on just what I know. I'm trying to grow more and get better at whatever I'm doing. So it takes time for me to see something worth making a video to help the guys out. Okay, it's June 19th, by the way. All right, so paying attention and and staying in focus. So there's times you can put autopilot on, and if your autopilot's any good, okay, and this is coming from, if you have experience in new construction, you know exactly what autopilot is, because I can autopilot devicing houses out, running wires. Like, my head can be somewhere completely else, and at the end of the day, the whole job's done. And it's just from new construction, that repetitive doing your job, you get into an autopilot. But you have to make sure your autopilot does have quality with it. Okay, so if you get into like an autopilot and you're not really quality driven, your work can look like crap and you're just going through the motions. And a lot of people get put into, I would rather be an autopilot than produce quality work, and it affects their income. Like, that's how hacks are created. So, and I'm working with apprentices here, and I'm going to give an example. So we're on a job site, and we're working late last night, don't get me wrong, and we're cleaning. Okay, and autopilot can be dangerous when you're cleaning. Okay, because yes, you're going through the motions of cleaning, but if you're not paying attention and your bucket is dirty, everything you clean is going to be tacky. So technically you're not cleaning, you're going through the motions, but the end result isn't there. And yes, we're electricians and we do clean. So we're wrapping the job up, and I go and I touch a doorknob and it's tacky. Okay, and listen, it's no one's fault. Everyone's learning how to clean. But are you really cleaning? Are you paying attention enough to know, like, hey, yes, I'm wiping stuff off and I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But are you really doing the job? Are you getting it done? So you have to be careful when you get into an autopilot. Like, is the quality there? All right. And, when it comes to guys that have experience, you can tell guys that know how to go into autopilot and have a rhythm, and you can tell guys that have never been in a rhythm before. Okay, and it is important that you learn how to build that rhythm. Okay, because one, that's where productivity is, especially on a large site. If you can get into like a quality rhythm, you're going to become valuable. Okay, and you're going to become more and more valuable in this trade, and it'll benefit you later on in life. So these younger guys, what you're doing today is going to determine what your pay is in 5 years. It's not just going out and asking for money or throwing out high bids. Okay, what you learn, and learn well, and as your skill level improves, it opens up doors and opportunities that you've never imagined. So you can't really look at the future with your mindset of today, because you only know everything up to today. All right, but if you're building good rhythms, and you're building, like, if you have a good rhythm and you're producing quality work, you're going to meet quality people, and those quality people are going to introduce you to their quality people. So it's almost like a multiplier. All right, so you can't anticipate today where you're going to be in 5 years. if you're constantly improving on your skill, getting better at showing up in the morning, getting better at taking notes, getting better at troubleshooting, or like when you, like, okay, here's an example. Sometimes you need to take advice from certain people. Okay, and this is, so we were doing like a 2 day job. Okay, at the end of the 2 day job, it's running a little long. So what did you do that caused that job to run long? All right. Did you cut your hi-hats in too late? Did you fish wires? Like, you kind of have to break down what you could have done to be more efficient. And if you just take 5 minutes just to review your job and see, like, okay, here we go. Like having foresight. And what that means is if you're in a kitchen and you're putting switches in and you're dealing with the old electric and you're getting it ready for new electric, all right? If there's a shallow box on the wall, kind of tuck that into your brain as you like remove the switch and you see, okay, that's a shallow box. Well, that's going to be tough for a dimmer. And I don't know if I need to use that or not, but just keep it in mind that there's a shallow box on that side of the wall. So as you go and you demo the old electric, you're keeping in your brain that there's other parts of the job, and you're basically, as you go through, your scope of work might change based on what you discovered. Having that skill, it takes years to get. Okay, so if you're like not entry level, but if you're a mid-level guy, you might not have that yet. And at the end of the job, you run into problems, and you're qualified enough to fix the problems. But at the end of the job, you should look back and be like, what could I have done differently? Okay, by doing that, you're going to become a better tradesman. All right. Look at timing, traffic. If you anticipate traffic, hey, what if we start this job an hour early, and know your traffic patterns for the area? So if traffic builds up at 4:30 and your job's not getting completed till 5, you might as well stay until after rush hour and put in some extra hours on the site and get more done. Or you might as well cut it early and avoid rush hour and then show up early the next day. You have to learn how to manipulate the clock based on your surroundings, okay? The more you're paying attention to all the factors, the better you can manage your day. All right, so yeah, this is more for the entry-level mechanics out there, even some apprentices. You don't know where you're going to be in 5 years, but if you have the mindset of subtle improvements, looking back on what can I had someone else, that entry-level apprentice, he's having issues stripping wires, okay? Take the tool home with you, your strippers, and practice at night. So he's having problems stripping stranded, and it's 16 and 18 gauge stranded. It's like lamp cord wire, okay? Fixture wire. Take them home. Have a little trash can by your chair as you're watching TV and strip wires. So you get to know your strippers. 2, you know those expensive strippers suck, and just a good old $10 pair of Klein are amazing. All right. But that's just my point of view. But in order to have a point of view, you have to have the experience and see what works for you. But don't just bitch and moan on a job site because you're having an issue. Go home and practice. There's certain things you can do, like devicing out. If you're entry level, go buy a 10-pack of outlets, buy a little bit of wire, and sit there at home and device outlets out while you're watching TV, and you're gonna gain experience there. Okay, it'll allow your hands to adapt to what they need to do, and you're going to be a better technician for it. I could go on about this because, yeah, there's so many little things that apprentices and even mechanics can do that will literally skyrocket their career. All right. You got to get away from some of these pessimistic people. The pessimistic people and the nihilistic people are the worst you can be around if you're trying to really get a foothold in this trade. So God bless. Enjoy your day. Take care.